part of the chorus. And I thought I'm never going to be able to learn and memorize atonal music. It's completely atonal. And I did, because it was such good music. And I was really surprised. I went to the rehearsals thinking, no way I'm going to be able to do this. We're making these chords that are awful sounding. You know? And I would sing the tenor through, and I'd go, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And eventually, I was not worried at all when we got to the performance. I knew it. I think I spent more time on the German than I did the pitches. So it just goes to show you, when you make good music is good music. If you, other things after serial composition, if you look at page 463, this is the avant-garde. This is Stockhausen. He just died very recently. This guy, I bet you've heard me talk about him. Stockhausen was like, in Europe they thought he was a living Beethoven. And Americans never heard of this guy. We just think this stuff sounds like cacophony. But he wrote this piece. Everyone plays the same tone. Leave the tone wherever your thoughts lead. Do not leave it. Please always return to the same. That's the piece. So you interpret it, however you're going to interpret it.
So it's almost like a solo feature?
Yeah, you're improvising the actual music. He's just giving you direction. On page 464, Feldman, a composer I don't really care for. This is just a new notation system. Instead of beats, he has these little squares, but we could consider each one to be a beat. And he makes up symbols, and you can see it's for orchestra and percussion.
Wow.
Skin with skin.
Like a drum, a skin, but like a skin instead of a plastic. A note with an arrow going up means play the highest note you can. And this is very aleatoric, meaning the performers decide what their highest or lowest notes are. He's just giving them ideas. On 465, that's interesting notation. This is, once again, you improvise according to the rules the composer gives you. This is a performance for keyboard, including the hand in the palms of the palm and the strings. So at the beginning of the piece, he would talk about how something would look.
Doesn't Bernard Monk do some of this stuff?
Yes.
Because we had the piece that we sang semesters ago. I don't remember what it was, a station or something. I think it had this kind of stuff.
And you remember the banshee that was scraping strings. Yeah, those are good effects. If you skip to 470, here's one electronic fancy. This has to be the 60s. But there were a lot of pieces that were for instrument with electronic tape. And he's got a score down at the bottom, but there's electronic tape playing. I tried one of those with flute and electronic tape. It's interesting because it's like playing a duet, but the other person will never stop or wait for you or anything. So they're just kind of introducing all the wild, some kind of wild things that have been done. They're in the, I'd say, 50s and 60s, there was a real avant-garde where you did all this wild, crazy stuff. And then it kind of settled after that.
Could you read it? There is some more
Yeah.
rotation.
It almost reminds me of that thing I had in my window in my office.
Yes.
That ridiculous thing.
The next page is sad. When you turn the page.
Yes, we're at the end.
That's the end of the book.
So the final exam is going to be... Oh yeah, after modern music, some people wrote what they called a neo-tonal or neo-modal. And what that is, it's trying to go tonal again. I said the British never wanted to go atonal. But if you do want to go neo-tonal, then you're supposed to think of something that makes it modern. like maybe odd rhythms that are modern. So the music could be tonal, but the rhythms could be modern, or an odd, maybe a synthesizer or something that has to be modern. Because if it's just neotonal, then you're old-fashioned.
Right.
So the final is going to be one piece to analyze. The piece is 2 pages long. It's an excerpt from piano piece. It's romantic, so it's going to have, it's late romantic, so it's going to have all the wild things. It's not going to have any atonality, but any of those secondaries or whatever's that we've had, you could have. That's it, is a piece to analyze, so there's no figured bass or anything. And every time I've given this as a final, every student comes out of it going, oh, I did horrible, and I've yet had anybody fail it or do what I would consider badly on it. So just try to tell yourself, no one's really bombed this yet, even though they all thought they did. Just the tough part though is this is everything we've ever had, so you got so many choices. It's like So my best advice for you is if you get to something and it's difficult, skip it and come back. Do all the easy stuff that you can, and then go back and fill in the hard stuff. So if you stare at something you're not getting, you're going to eat up time, and then you won't have time for the easy stuff. So since there are points off for everything that's not correct, it would behoove you to get all the correct stuff first. I know that's atomic, I know that's subatomic, I know that's a first inversion. So get all that, and save the head scratching stuff, and then make a second round where you go through, oh, now I know what this is, because I know what they did later. And then it'll narrow down to a section that is very confusing. And then, after you got all the easy stuff, you got the whole rest of the exam to stare at it and go, now what could that be? So my only advice is, I would try to make a little list. You can't use it for the final, but list all these different possibilities and just read through it a few times every day before, so that at least, because I would hate to think of somebody like coming out and going, oh, that's right, chromatic movement, that was one of the things we could have used. Or, oh yeah, forgot about common tone diminished. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Because you didn't study for it, you know. So just, you know, there's a lot of stuff, but just list it by name and look at it and have it stare. Just read it every day. And then when you're analyzing, that stuff may pop out. Yeah, harmonics. I would hate to think, oh man, why didn't I remember that?
Can you give us something?
When could I give you that? Okay, I gave you that Star Spangled Banner and those things. So that's actually, yeah. I've got Star Spangled Banner on my mind because of this. Okay. But that was really good because this thing will probably have the augmented 6 and the augmented course and whatnot.
Can you analyze that?
What? Star Spangled Banner? Oh, just one other thing. For those of you coming back next semester, if you're interested, you don't have to do this, but there is an applied music composition. And what that is expressly for, you can't take that unless you have 4 semesters on it. So if you would like to do more projects, that's all it is we all meet, we all pick a time we need to meet, like an applied lesson, except that we go down to whoever's there and we say, what would you like to do for your next project after the poem say? And we kind of go different, and like the class, we talk about each other's projects, and we record them, and we even try to do them at a Tuesday night and try to get it good enough to do it at our side. But I'm just saying, you know, if you get into the project, that's what this class is for.
I just saw Frankie Sanchez in the class. He said that he thought he bombed your final, and he walked out and he got 89.
Okay,
So
Frankie Sanchez, who I would describe as someone who was light on homework, missed some homework here and there, didn't come to class here and there, and he walked out of it saying, I really bombed it, he got an 89. And that's my experience, so I hesitate to tell you that because I don't want you to think, well then I don't have to study. Because you do have to study, you should prepare it. But I am saying it's interesting to me that everybody always thinks they bomb. If you could do this, when you transfer and take you'll go, is there another page? Did you forget to have a page? You'll think it's easier. You will too. Have a great weekend.
Don't say that.
What did she say?